Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to the Fort Salem Library, where we read you your fanfiction. So sit down or don't, relax or don't, and enjoy these stories in a way you have not before. We at Fort Salem Library do not own Motherland Fort Salem or any of the related characters. The Motherland Fort Salem series is created by Elliot Lawrence and owned by Freeform. This story is a work of fanfiction and is meant for entertainment only. We are not making any profit from these stories. All rights of the original Motherland Fort Salem story belong to Freeform. We also do not own What's Yours Is Mine, or any of its original characters and storylines. We did, however, get permission from the author to read their story. This story was created and written by Lisbeth_1, and you can find the link in our show notes. This story is being read to you by Celine.
What's yours is mine. Is this yours or mine? Telly looks up from the absurdly large pile of clothing that is scattered across her and Sarah's bed, to find Sarah next to her, frowning at a t-shirt, grey and slightly wrinkled, the blue block lettering across the front reading Fort Salem Charity Run, stamped across the chest. Mine. Telly looks back down at the pile of clothing, picking up a pair of jeans, these ones definitely Sarah's, and folds them as nicely as she can. Yours has the red letters on it, remember? Oh, right. Sarah's frown disappears, and she folds the shirt, neater than Telly ever could, placing it on the corner of the bed that is now home to Telly's clean-folded clothing. You know, we really shouldn't let laundry pile up like this. That way we aren't stuck folding it and putting it away for hours at a time. You say that every time, Telly reminds her with a grin, and yet it never happens. Besides, I did suggest we do this last Saturday, but you had other plans. Sarah grins back at her, folding another pair of her jeans. I didn't hear you complaining about those other plans at that time. In fact, you gave in very easily. I'm sorry, Telly says with a slight, playful roll of her eyes. Was I supposed to complain when you asked if I wanted to spend the whole day in bed with you? Sarah laughs, nose wrinkling with a smile as she does. No, I suppose not. But you did turn me down for that today. Because I'm running out of clean socks, Telly says, holding up one of the objects in question. And clean clothing in general, so unless you want me wandering around base in nothing but my underwear come Monday, the laundry needed to get done today. While you in underwear is a sight that I would never tire of, I see your point, Sarah says wryly. She picks up a hoodie and folds it, adding it to her pile of clean clothing. Wait, that's mine, Telly protests, and Sarah arches a brow at her, picking the sweater back up and unfolding it. Is that so? Sarah says. She holds the front of the sweater up to Telly, tapping at the words General Alder, embroidered in the upper left corner. And when exactly did you become a general in the army, Corporal Alder? She stresses Telly's much lower-ranking title. When I married the general of the army, Telly teases back, and Sarah rolls her eyes. That is not how that works, Sarah protests, but she places the hoodie onto the pile of Telly's clothing instead of on hers. No, Telly agrees, but it does allow me to steal your clothing. What's yours is mine after all. You would do well to remember that the next time you refuse to share your food with me when we're out. Telly turns to gape at her, lowering the shirt she had been working on folding. You don't even eat. I don't have to eat, Sarah says mildly, not even looking at Telly. It doesn't mean I can't. I was starving, Telly defends herself, finally folding the shirt. You would eat my food when you don't even need to, and make your poor wife starve. Sarah shakes her head, eyes going up to look at the ceiling in exasperation. Remind me why I married you again. Telly sniffs, idly digging through the massive pile of laundry for a matching pair to the sock she was holding. I believe your exact words were, "Telly, darling, I have never loved anyone quite as much as I love you. Will you allow me the honor of becoming your wife?" And then you cried when I said yes. Sarah's hands are suddenly on Telly's hips, and Telly yelps as she is abruptly turned and picked up, tossed onto the bed and the pile of clothing with a soft oof. Sarah wastes no time in crawling up the bed after her, pushing smaller piles of clothing away and onto the floor as she comes to lay down on top of Telly, pinning her hips to the bed with her own. "Sarah," Telly whines slightly as Sarah comes to rest on top of her with a grin. "We just got started folding the clothing, and you already ruined half of our work." Sarah's grin only widens, and her hands slide under Telly's shirt, one of the only clean ones she has left. "The clothing can wait, darling," she purrs, leaning down to kiss Telly's neck. "Because she nips at Telly's collarbone, her wife moaning lightly beneath her, "am just getting started with you."
Please find the fanfiction you just listened to on Archive of Our Own, and leave the author some love. Without them, this wouldn't be possible, and we want to thank them from the bottoms of our hearts for creating these amazing stories and keeping the show alive.